I am definitely not a fan of Big Pharma at all. But in this case, when we are looking at America being the most obese country in the world,
we got that one down.
I don't see how a lot of the obese people in our country are naturally going to have the motivation to get the weight down to actually get to a healthier America. I think that overall, Trump RX is a huge, great investment into America's future because Americans are already paying an arm and a leg to these big pharma companies.
Guys, it's so good to be back.
Good to be back.
I missed being with you all on this day.
too.
It's been great to have awesome guests on, but it feels really sweet to have the OG people back.
Honestly, what a better way to kick off Valentine's Day than with the girlfriends.
And we're color coordinated.
We are.
We didn't even plan this, I just want to say. Just like-minded.
Just felt the love for each other. Oh my gosh. I'm also so excited to be here and talking with you guys today because there's been so much crazy stuff going on in the Hill, like the SAVE Act, stuff with the tariffs, ICE leaving Minnesota. It's honestly very stressful. So it feels good to just be here, shake all that off, and talk about some of the wins that we've been loving over the past week versus being stressed about.
Loving. I love that.
Yes, loving some things.
All things about love today.
There's some love going on in DC instead of just stress.
Is there love in DC?
Is there ever real love in DC?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't find my boyfriend here, so
the dating scene seems to be pretty grim, according to the polls.
Oh my gosh, what are they saying?
That DC is one of the worst cities to date in.
Oh my goodness.
Did you know that?
I have heard rumors. Okay, but here's my hot take on this. So yes, it's a rough city to date in. I at least try and correct me if I'm wrong, Morgan. I don't think it's harder than any other city in the United States.
That is fair, but I do think that DC specifically, I refer to it as just one giant cubicle because everyone here is here for working. There's not a lot of single women here who aren't working or pursuing other aspirations. Everyone is working and hustling in usually politics or politically adjacent careers to where you're working honestly like an investment banker in New York and you have no free time.
That's fair. That makes sense.
So it's on the one hand, you have a lot of events to go to. It's easier to access people, but then once you get in, then that's where it gets tricky.
Right. So hopefully you find your significant other at a DC cocktail party or something.
So what's your hot take? Because Virginia's it's actually not harder than any other state. Do you have a hot take on dating, love, Valentine's Day, whichever?
See, I feel like you're a little biased.
I'm a little biased. This is my first married Valentine's Day. But I do think that Valentine's Day as a whole is a very consumeristic holiday. But does that mean I told my husband I don't want flowers and a cute note? No. I actually told him I know it's a consumeristic holiday and, everyone in America spends billions of dollars towards this holiday and it really is just pro-capitalism, which I am pro-capitalism. But, I do still want flowers and something cute and thoughtful.
Yeah, and I love, Morgan, that you told him that. It wasn't hiding the candy. It wasn't oh, no, honey, don't get me anything. I'm fine. You just straight out expressed, this is what I want. Deliver.
But also, this is something that I've talked to with my friends and my husband as well, is that, Valentine's Day feels like a holiday for boyfriends who don't give throughout the other 364 days. Ooh. And then on Valentine's Day, they can show up with a teddy bear and flowers and a note and be like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. When I think, and my husband does a great job of this, but you have to love the person throughout the entire year, and Valentine's Day is just for fun at that point.
Every day should be Valentine's Day.
Exactly.
I see.
Yes.
Wow.
Elise, what's your Valentine's Day
hot take?
Okay, so this is a new hot take. I've never had this hot take before, but I've been in DC for about a year and a half now.
Is that it?
It's only been a year and a half.
Wow,
I grew up around here, but it really I have not been a big girl in the city for more than a year and a half. I spent last Valentine's Day here, spending this one here. I think that liberal men are easier to access and they're easier to approach than conservative men.
Why?
Oh. Now, I want to say disclaimer, I do have a boyfriend, but I was at a party with my friend from high school recently and high school theater where they were mostly all liberal and I was meeting a lot of new people. I wasn't looking to flirt with any of them, but the ones who I was having conversations with, the men specifically, they just knew how to talk about things that weren't politics, work, more so than I have ever experienced going to like a networking event here in DC, like you go to Butterworth's, everyone's wearing their tie and they're talking about like, oh, I'm a staff assistant somewhere or whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, boring. Like, what do you do for fun? I go to this party with a bunch of liberals and they know how to talk about like, oh, I saw this concert this weekend, or this thing happened, or this thing happened. Maybe it's because it hinges on the fact that they assume everyone agrees with them and they're not trying to have like the hottest take. But in my opinion, if I was single, I would be a little bit more scared of trying to go up to a conservative man circle than a liberal man circle.
Well, then I have to ask the question, should women be the ones approaching men to start those conversations, or instead being desirable and approachable as women, hoping for one of the conservative, strong, masculine men to come after you?
You're so right. I would not go up to one of them on my own on either side. I just don't have time
But the
for that.
conversations I do think is important to note. And I think other cities, it's not just DC, of like when you're going to these events and you're trying to meet someone, why is it that like the first conversation it's, oh, what do you do for work?
What do you do? What do you do?
It's such an easy question. I have fallen prey to it many a time because it gives you some sort of foundation to launch a conversation off of. But there's so many other fantastic questions you can ask. One of them, which I think is really, really fun, is you can ask someone like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your week going? And it's just a way to kind of break the mold. And often, if they're like, oh, it's a 5, I'm like, man, what's making it a 5? Like, it provides opportunity for great follow-up. So, yeah, break the molds. But love is maybe in the air in your life. We hope for you, ladies. Love is in the air in your world. And it is, in a way, in the air in Washington, D.C., thanks to President Donald Trump, because what comes from love? Marriage. What comes from marriage? Babies!
You know this.
As the song goes. Morgan, well acquainted. How many months now?
Oh my gosh, I'm way in my 3rd trimester.
Oh my gosh.
We're due in the middle of spring, so we're coming up soon.
Can get that Trump account.
I know. I actually am like, do I pre-register? Do I register later?
Well, we want to talk about that. That is a huge piece of news recently out of the administration, that for babies born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, so if you're married and not pregnant yet, hop on that, get going. You have a limited amount of time, but babies born within that window will receive $1,000 into what is affectionately called a Trump account, which is sort of like an IRA, but for individuals under the age of 18.
Yes.
So do you plan to sign up for this, Morgan?
I do plan to sign up for it. I actually think it's a brilliant idea to help young families specifically. And also, we were talking about like financial literacy, just kids right now aren't educated in savings accounts. Of course, there's like 529 accounts, which specifically are for parents to put money in for a child's education. Roth IRAs are an option. But what's so cool about the Trump accounts is similarly to like a Roth IRA or an IRA, but you can contribute up to $5,000 every single year. The seed funding is starting at $1,000, just an initiation type of like gift, as you will. And a lot of companies we've seen are now matching that. So kind of similar to a 401k match, a lot of companies are coming out saying, we'll match the initial investment to where in the first year, that's like $2,000 of invested money essentially for free. And then your grandparents can additionally contribute, friends can contribute, you can continue to contribute. And then when your child turns 18, which by the way, it is locked until the child's 18. So there's not even an opportunity for parents to use it as like an emergency fund to then pull the money out like a traditional retirement account and pay the penalty. Instead, this money is completely sealed until the child turns 18, where then the account is turned into a traditional IRA for the child. So you're immediately setting your child up for success. And I was reading that hypothetically, like based on projections, if you were to contribute $5,000 every single year between now and 2028, by the time your child turns 18, it would be approximately $300,000.
Wow. That's huge. I mean,
that's huge.
That is for sure. I mean, gosh, a down payment on an incredibly nice house, or maybe even being able to straight out cash buy a home, certainly cover college. That's huge.
Right. Which, of course, you would then have to pay taxes after that if you decide to pull it out early. But I do think it just like shows if parents are choosing to contribute, up to the limit of money. Because I believe that for a traditional Roth IRA, it is was $3,500 last year, or maybe it was a little bit more, 4 or 5. I can't remember what the exact maximum cap was to contribute. But this is a way that you can start to set your kids up for a financially successful future. Like, of course, the economy is tight. Not everyone has $5,000 every single year to give to their kids. But even if it was like, Christmas gifts from grandma and grandpa, hey, actually, could you guys throw $200 in their account every year? Think of like how compounding that will actually increase and pay off in the future.
Well, and it really gets at the heart of what I think we have seen President Trump try to do with so many of his policies related to the economy is to play the long game, to recognize that economic success, you have to lay a really strong foundation. It's not just candy, honestly, like what we saw during COVID with just, checks being sent out, free money, someone has to pay for it still. It's spent. But this is, okay, how do we empower the next generation to be financially set up for success? Because as we've talked about on the show, so many millennials, which is why Mom Dami, we believe, probably got elected, because you're looking at all these millennials, some Gen Zers as well, who are saying, okay, I did the steps, I went to college, I got the good degree, I got a good job, and I still can't afford to buy a home. I still can barely meet my bills. And so long term, it's like, all right, how do we stop this cycle? Okay, well, maybe it starts with ensuring that the next generation actually does have that money to put that down payment on that home, to go to college, to pursue these things, to not go into crazy debt. So it's a long game for fixing a really big problem.
It's kind of a double-edged coin for me, because on the one hand, yes, the long game, that is really exciting. I'm so excited for everyone who gets to benefit from this, and hopefully whoever is the next president, even if it's a liberal, will continue something like this, because I don't think I'm going to have a kid in the next 2.5 years, but you never know what's going to happen. But long game doesn't win midterms, especially the economy, and it's really unfortunate because
speaking like a politician, Elise.
I know, and I'm just like, you and I, the three of us, we all see this as a really good thing. I see the long game being played with economics, and I'm not being a panican, as Trump would say, and I'm not worried about like the state of the economy as many are. And that's how people are voting during midterms. Do you think actions like this are going to ultimately help Trump, or do you think it's just going to help him when people look back and remember him?
I think it helps with a small percentage of voters. I think for the individuals who are having babies during this time window from 2025 through 2028, it's something that people will bear in mind and could translate to additional support, whether in midterms or the next presidential election for the GOP candidate. You're right, it's probably a pretty small percentage.
Yeah. Small percentage, I would agree.
This is a small group of people who it's actually affecting, and even for those who it affects, mentally, you think $1,000, that's nice, but maybe doesn't translate into some of the louder issues that are in your face all the time.
Exactly.
Right. Which, I think that also just comes from transparency with the American people and noting that the economy has always been the number one issue for voters across the board. They want to see how it's impacted in their day-to-day lives, which obviously we've seen come out from this administration a lot of success of lowering gas prices across the country, grocery prices going down. But the American people need to see that actually tangibly in their lives. How are they able to save more money, have more money, and buying houses? Like, how are we going to make that even a bigger possibility? Which I was even looking at mortgage rates and all of that. It is so difficult right now for Americans to buy homes.
Tell me about it.
If we could, I do agree, Trump accounts are awesome, especially for people like me and other young families that are starting out. It shows just how pro-family that the Trump administration really is. Yeah. But to even go a step further is, if you're really pro-America and pro-family, you would focus on the economic issues, because those are the ones that are impacting Americans the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, in a more positive light, I feel like for a lot of conservatives, and we know conservatives don't just go out and vote for whoever is out there. We're kind of Republicans are bad at getting out there and voting for whoever's the candidate just as much as Democrats do. But for me personally, I see this as, I finally have a taste of an administration and a president who is actively doing something for family values and for the future, and he has hope in the future. He's investing in the future. So I expect nothing less from my Republicans from here on out in regards to family values.
Ooh, I like that. This is sort of a new setting of the bar.
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, you can't just gloss over this sect of people that this is like their biggest issue for them.
Which, I mean, this was also a part of the Big Beautiful Bill, which has a lot of other pro-family things roped into it. And I think that we're going to continue to see other legislation and things coming outside of the White House, not legislation, but things coming from the White House that will benefit families, especially when there's so many pregnant women and other young children running around the White House right now.
Yes.
And one thing I think that's amazing is Usha Vance, currently pregnant with their fourth child.
Yes, fourth child.
Their fourth child, a boy. And this is the first time, I think, in like a very long time. It's the first time in a very long time.
First time in modern history. The last time was in like the 1800s,
Oh, wow.
I
I
believe,
didn't know it was that long.
that a vice president has had a child while serving as vice president.
I think that's incredible. It's incredible.
It's so cool.
And then Caroline Leavitt, press secretary, pregnant with her baby girl, which is their second child. Yeah. You also have Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller, is pregnant. Not to mention, you know, there were 2 White House kind of weddings in a sense. Over the last couple of weeks, Dan Scavino got married, and Alex Brushewitz, who was monumental in helping Trump with the podcast interviews and really gathering the Gen Z vote. So I think love is truly in the air, in the White House, baby making's happening, and I think we're going to continue to kind of see this within what is going to happen across the board in America throughout the next couple of years.
I'm really excited to see how this plays out for so many people in a really exciting way because, you know, a lot of people who are critics of the right who always say, when the right says, you know, like family values, get married young, have kids, a lot of people who are critics of that are like, okay, I get it, but you guys who are in the White House, like the Caroline Leavitts and the top admin officials, like you're not actively having kids while you're doing your really hard job. Well, look at a bunch of people who are getting married, starting families, and doing the really hard job. The vice president, second hardest job in the entire country, you know, maybe even harder. I don't know. So I'm really excited to see how the narrative shifts around that and showing, yes, you can do it all, maybe not all at once, but sometimes you can do it all at once with the support of a community and an administration that supports family values.
Well, I think it adds like a level of care of what's happening broadly, like around the country of, you know, I don't want my kids raised in an America that they hate. Yeah. I want my kids to be raised in a healthy America and a pro-loving America. And that's what the Trump administration is truly doing. And there's been some exciting things coming out of HHS, which I really think benefits the next generation. Largely is like the developing of the new food pyramid and what they're doing with bringing back whole milk in schools. I think both of those are huge wins for our next generation.
Well, it's common sense. Like the new food pyramid, you look at it and you're like, yeah, no, duh. Like,
it makes sense.
Of course. Like,
I think it's funny how it's just like upside down though.
It's literally upside down.
It's kind of a meme, but I love
like,
it.
No, but it makes a lot of sense. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, when you really get into looking at it, it's like, all right, we have known for forever that fruits and vegetables and pure fatty proteins, like good meats, fish, cheeses, that's how we're designed to eat. That's how we're made to eat. You just
feel better when you do it.
You feel better. So, you know, cut out those empty carbs, in other words.
Yes.
So it's great.
The processed foods.
And
we actually
returning to a healthier America.
We discussed this on a recent episode of Problematic Women about alcohol consumption and being alcohol free. Dr. Oz said something really interesting during that whole press conference about the food pyramid, the new updated food pyramid. And he said that they're kind of getting rid of the guidelines, the very strict guidelines about alcohol consumption. And he said, like, a couple drinks are good as a social lubricant when you're out with your friends. And it was very just laissez-faire, if you will, about their alcohol guidelines. Do you guys have any hot takes on that or strong opinions on the alcohol guidelines being updated?
You know, I'm going to be honest. While I think it is important for, you know, guidelines to exist, I have a feeling that not many Americans are taking the advice of the White House on how many alcoholic beverages they should have at a social gathering.
Yeah. You know, fun fact, a lot of people don't know this, but President Trump doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't do drugs. Doesn't do any of that. And a lot of the Trump children have actually adopted that as well, of living a sober lifestyle. I myself haven't had a drink in over 3 years now, I think.
Wow.
I have a little counter on my phone just for fun to keep track of, like, the last time I had a drink. My only cheat was election night, actually, and I had half a glass of champagne election night this last, when President Trump won, so that doesn't really count. But I will say that for women, especially fertility reasons, social situations even, I do feel like that a sober lifestyle is a better lifestyle. You're just more focused and you're more clear naturally because you don't have alcohol in your system. So I think Americans are going to listen to these new guidelines or lack thereof. Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think it changed much.
I mean, I do kind of look at countries like in Europe that have lower drinking ages, and it's just like more of a social thing versus in America, it's like, oh, you turn 21 and it's alcohol's a big deal, which I know a lot of people have fallen kind of victim to and have their party phases. But I think that the more that we look at Gen Z specifically, so many people have been moving away from the alcoholic lifestyle and have now been kind of moving towards just like embracing sobriety in a way, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, and I think really embracing MAHA, like embracing the idea of clean eating, of getting back to just steady habits. I feel like there's a renewed emphasis on discipline in our lives, which has been needed for a long time, and just the importance of keeping like your whole mind, body, soul healthy.
Absolutely. And that actually kind of brings me to something within the HHS wins that we've been seeing that I don't really know where I stand on this. I'm really curious where you guys stand on this. Again, MAHA, very disciplined. We're seeing that with Gen Z. But a really big thing that just happened recently is Trump rolled out Trump RX, which just shows that we are paying way too much for prescription drugs compared to a lot of other countries. The website is beautiful, by the way. It's so awesome to just scroll through it. Yes, and it shows you like where other countries are paying like $200 for this one prescription. You, as an American, are paying $1,300. So you can get it for an extremely discounted price-matched price on Trump RX. And something that people are talking about is how you can get weight loss GLP-1s on Trump RX. And that has a lot of people split because, you know, it's good to lose weight and be the healthiest version of yourself. But a lot of people also think, hey, this isn't good for you long term. So I don't know what I think about this, to be honest.
This is me speaking with zero research and zero medical background. But I do think anytime you can tackle weight health from a fully natural perspective, talking diet, nutrition, exercise, that's always going to be long-term more sustainable to keeping the weight off than doing it with any sort of drug. Now, there's like great aids you can use, like people talk about having a little bit of apple cider vinegar with water in the morning. That's a great thing to regulate your metabolism and help knock out cravings during the day. So there's a lot of practical tools, like use them, employ them. But I would say medicine is last resort.
Yeah. I would generally agree because I am definitely not a fan of Big Pharma at all. I am a natural girly through and through. But in this case, when we are looking at America being one of the, I think, single-handedly the most obese country in the world.
Yeah, we got that one down.
I don't see how a lot of the, like, obese people in our country are naturally going to have the motivation to get the weight down, to actually get to a healthier America and to have a healthier lifestyle. I mean, especially when you look at, we just SNAP and WIC benefits were cut of a lot of these super hyper processed foods. And then you see chip companies that are making like Red 40 list chips, Doritos being one of them. I think that kind of twofold. Some people genuinely need the GLP-1 assistance, but that also needs to be an understanding of if you choose to go on the GLP-1, you need to be having diet and exercise be a main focus, because if you get off and you don't have diet and exercise in check, you will gain the weight back. I think that overall Trump RX is a huge, great investment into America's future, because Americans are already paying an arm and a leg to these big pharma companies and their insurance premiums just to get their prescriptions of other drugs, not even just weight loss ones. But another thing that's on Trump RX, which I do think is incredible, kind of hand in hand with a lot of obese women actually struggle with fertility or infertility. And another drug that has been talked about widely on Trump RX is fertility medications. And being in the societal state that we're in, where a lot of women are battling infertility, am I pro-fertility drugs right out the gate? No, I think you should heal your gut and go the natural way first and really like have these conversations. But, it is now becoming more affordable for women and men just to have that help, whether it's weight loss, fertility, or your kind of day-to-day prescriptions. And unfortunately, we do live in a country and a society where almost every single American has a prescription to go pick up at CVS or Walgreens or wherever every single month, even children. And so, if this is helping to keep money in Americans' pockets and out of the hands of Big Pharma, then I think it's a win.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And a win that hopefully the whole country can agree on, Democrats, Republicans, because it helps everyone.
Oh, the Democrats are going to find a way to be against this.
Saving money.
They can't be pro-Trump for anything.
But I do think that these are some really great things overall that are helping American families.
Absolutely. I love it.
Major wins.
On this Valentine's Day, I love that this is happening.
Love is in the air. What we do with the question of the week this week, we want to get y'all's hot takes on Valentine's Day. So if you have a hot take, we want to hear about it, or maybe on the dating scene in general. Let us know how dating is in your city.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh my gosh, I got to get a break from being asked out so much, tell us where you live. Tell me where you live.
We'll do an episode from there.
But
last single friends.
Yeah, I know, really. Last week, we asked you guys to weigh in. Question of the week was weighing in on ICE in Minneapolis. We had a big announcement from Tom Homan this week that ICE, over the course of the next week, is leaving Minneapolis. Now, that does not mean that they are entirely exiting. There's literally like permanent ICE offices in the Twin Cities, so there will always be a presence there. But as far as the surge that happened under Operation Metro Surge, that is ending, which is massive news. So I asked you all, do you support ICE leaving Minneapolis? And 51% said yes. 51% said no, you don't support ICE leaving Minneapolis. 18% said yes, and 30% said not sure. So vast majority of you want to see more ICE in Minneapolis. Sorry, it's not what you're getting right now. But Tom Homan has been really clear. These enforcement operations, they're continuing around the country. So this issue certainly not going away. But want to take a second here at the end of the show. This is an issue that, for me, covering border immigration, I'm super passionate about. And Elise, you have an announcement that in some ways relates.
Yes, well, it's extremely bittersweet to announce this, but this will be my last episode here on Problematic Women. No, next week will be my last episode because I am going over to the Department of Homeland Security for an exciting new role. I'm feeling really called towards it. Prayed on this a lot, and Problematic Women was at the forefront. It really was such a hard choice. It was Sophie's choice, as they say, but I'm feeling really called at this moment in time to go and, serve my country in this capacity. So whatever I can do to be an ally on that side for Problematic Women, I'm always here, and it's been such a joy over the past year and change to get to share this table with you guys and learn so much about you and share these wonderful stories, and hopefully I'll be back one day.
Well, Elise, it has truly been an honor to get to host Problematic Women with you and have you here on the show, get all your spicy takes every single week.
We love them. Pop culture.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my gosh, all the pop culture.
I'll text you guys updates.
Please do. I need to stay informed. I need my Gen Z source. But it's been awesome to see so many young people across Washington, D.C. really pick up that mantle to say, okay, I'm going to go serve my country in this capacity, serve in the Trump administration. So I'm very excited, Elise, for your road ahead. The folks over at DHS are just doing phenomenal work of really taking up this mandate that was given to them from the American people to say, okay, we had over 10 million illegal aliens enter our country during the Biden administration. Let's get that situation under control.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm the daughter of a Filipino immigrant, and she did it the right way, my mom, and that was so brave of her. Her entire family did it the right way, and because of that, she is so in support of what the Trump administration is doing right now. But on a personal level, the America you grew up in doesn't exist anymore. But not even that. The America we went to high school in doesn't exist anymore because of how intrinsically illegal immigration has changed the makeup of our country from the crime they commit down to you can't take less than 20 minutes to drive 2 miles in DC just because there's too many people. It's overcrowded, can't buy a house. It affects every single aspect of your life. So if I can do anything to aid in making sure everyone who went through the process correctly, like my mom did, and everyone who deserves to be here, who did the right thing, did the moral thing, if I can help in that, like, I want to be part of it.
Oh, what an incredible opportunity. Yeah. I know everyone's so proud of you and so excited for what the future holds and, being able to serve, like you guys have said, just serve America, but in now a new way. You're young and the experience.
And I'm excited to be on the other end with the viewers and watching you guys every week. So I'll be in the comments. I'll be in the question of the week, so don't you worry.
We love it.
So everyone needs to tune in next week to
my
watch
last episode.
last episode.
Yes, it's going to be with a phenomenal guest, so tune in next week for that. And in the meantime, hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on brand new shows from Problematic Women. Make sure you're following us on Instagram because we want to get your feedback every single week. DM us, let us know what you want to hear more about. If you have guest recommendations, we love receiving those from y'all. So send them our way and make sure you weigh in and let us know if you have any hot takes on Valentine's Day.
Yes. And happy Valentine's
Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.